Hi everyone, great you're listening to the first TAF podcast, and I find myself here at the membership lounge of the Tate Gallery, Tate Britain Gallery, where we have the William Blake exhibition, and sitting beside me is Eric Loren, and Eric is the director of 2 William Blake shows performed by TAF. Hi Eric.
Hello, good afternoon.
Great. I'm really curious to know how was it for you to see this exhibition?
It was pretty amazing. Basically, it kind of re-inspired me again to want to put on, as you mentioned, I directed these 2 Ted Blake shows, Divine Humanity and Eternity in an Hour. And I've been missing the works of William Blake, and I think after having seen this, it's quite exquisite. There were so many pieces I'd never seen before. And just the sense of expression, it really washed over you. The last time I went, it's the second time I came.
So you have been already twice, and if you look at Blake, the shows that you made, how did you bring in the work of William Blake in theatre? Because theatre is something else than drawing or sketching or making art.
Well, the most important thing, I think, in the beginning was to make sure people really understood what the paintings were like. So in the beginning of the shows, we had a piece set to music with some of his most famous paintings that created an emotional experience with Blake that people would have before the play even started, and you started to learn about his life, which I thought was essential. And also, it says so in the gallery itself. It talks about the fact that he had these visions, these amazing visions, with the Archangel Michael and different people. And so we tried to bring that side. It's like, okay, let's look at Blake and say, okay, he was a visionary, and then he was writing what he was seeing. So it was trying to create that on stage and kind of embody that. So we would use the paintings to be the beginning of it, and then his poetry, and then try and take us to this other level, this other dimension.
And there was also a part of William Blake's life involved, right? In the first play, Divine Humanity. How did you bring that in, and what were the pieces of his life that you brought in? What was most significant?
Well, interestingly enough, I think also with the prophecies, people think, I don't really understand, why did he write like that? And there was an event that happened in Felpham where he took a redcoat soldier and threw him out of his garden, and that was then he was taken to trial for sedition in England, and he had to basically, the chances were he was going to be arrested or put in prison. And so after that, he became very cautious about the way he wrote and what he wrote about, and he wrote in this kind of code, if you like. So we wanted to try and bring those out, the expression of that. So, but it was important for people. So I think it was not only taking him through his life out of sequence of being this youth who kind of saw these visions of angels around him, and then taking him through the early part of his life through the Royal Academy and what he was learning and what he was experiencing as an artist, and what he was trying to do on a kind of more practical level, so that people could relate to him as an artist as well, and the frustrations, and have these 2 sides, which created this amazing dichotomy, which is very dramatic, of this incredible visionary creating new works that no one's ever seen before, new techniques that no one's ever seen before, and yet fighting against a society that was old and rigid and unwilling to move. And we couldn't help but get on his side and want to be a part of his life. And so for me, it was taking so there was that, to the Royal Academy, his early works with his brother, helping him put on his original show, which they have here, which is really interesting. They rebuild the room and put the paintings in there that you can see that you would have seen at that time.
So that is something that we really have to see, that room that was built. And great. So there was a big contradiction to his life and how the way he had to survive, actually, and the work that he made. It was totally out of reality, out of the reality of his daily life. If you look at the show like Eternity in an Hour, what did you do there, and how did you work on that show?
Well, the difference really was Eternity in an Hour was also an attempt to take Blake to many more people in different places. So it was a much smaller cast. It was a lot of storytelling, and also incorporating, because he did poetry and music in a way, incorporating all that. So we were talking we're talking about affecting people on multiple levels, which is true of both shows. But in the first show, we also dealt with the Job story. So within that was this pain of the Job plates that he did, which is a really important story about someone being tested by God, and then coming to that final crux and surrendering, and in that finding this new state. And there's also, Blake talks about Jerusalem and talks about Albion coming to life in England.
What do you think is Blake's most important message?
Well, I don't...
Sorry, it might be a bit of a difficult question.
I think it's rebuilding Jerusalem in your everyday life. It's like taking Jerusalem and Albion and this sense of connection to, I guess, the divine in some way. And it was interesting, there's a painting there which I've taken a photograph of. It's divine inspiration sitting on the banks of the river. And he actually physicalized it. I think it's what I've taken from it, I haven't seen it, just the last 2 times I went, was I need to look inwards and let that come to me, and then go outwards, connect again, and then allow divine inspiration to be the guide to all art.
Could you say that was your biggest insight from this exhibition, from William Blake's work in general?
Yeah, I think it was this time. It was really trying to absorb everything that he was putting out, and to be able to see his hand is exactly not someone else's representation, but him, imagining him working and trying. He's so prolific and incredible, but also there was frustrations in his life. There's no guarantees, and if someone who's that great an artist and that connected could still have to go through this journey and this battle, maybe there's something in the journey. It's the journey as well.
Wow, that's great. Imagine, Eric, that would be a third play about William Blake that TEF would make, based on this beautiful exhibition. The fact that William Blake is still so important in life of today, as you shared with us your biggest insight. How would you do this differently? How could it be another show on the same subject?
Well, I think we got to a certain point with him, and I think that it's taking it one step further. So rather than just going, let's start from the beginning, it's like, let's look at what we have and start workshopping it again and find the places we were missing. I think there was some biographical stuff that was missing for us towards the end of the play that could help people understand more about Blake, who didn't know anything about him. So I think it's starting from that point of view, saying where we got to, I think, with Eternity in an Hour was, this is really for people who don't know anything about him, where the other one was really for people, was both an experience, and was trying to experience it on many levels. I think we could just give a little more biography and at the same time take them deeper by giving them more, being more comfortable to go further.
Thank you so much, Eric. This is great that you shared this with us, and I can't actually wait to see the exhibition. Actually, we're just about to go in, so it's wonderful to have been talking to you. Thank you so much for your time, and see you later.